Hi everyone, my name's Nicole Rocchio and I am a part of the GNI Data Tools team. I'm here with my colleague Ashley Edwards, who is a part of the US News Labs team. And today we're going to be discussing Google Analytics 4 specifically for news publishers, both implementation and UI walkthrough. On today's agenda, we'll start with an introduction of Universal Analytics and GA4. We'll talk about how to implement GA4 from your current situation. And third, we'll be talking about the user interface and showing you actually how to walk through all of that.
Over the last few years, there's been a lot of changes to the web ecosystem. We have user privacy top of mind with regulatory changes. We have browsers changing the way cookies are being used, and end users themselves want more control over how their data is being used. All the while, the amount of data we have is ever increasing. This leads to 3 reasons why the new version of Google Analytics, GA4, is important for everyone. 1. There is now machine learning data that will automatically surface insights. 2. There is a more complete understanding of a user journey for those of you that are both on app and web. And 3. Built to be future-proof. This new version takes advantage of modeling to learn about your readers even if you have some gaps in data and does not depend on having cookies. Provided the overall new changes for GA4, we wanted to recognize news publishers interact with GA in a different manner than that of e-commerce. To take it one step further, we're going to focus on the differences we believe are most impactful for the news publisher ecosystem. First off, 2 main changes for the way we've been working with this data in the past. 1. Everything is an event. A visit, page view, video start, purchase, anything and everything is labeled as an event. And 2. Engagement rate versus bounce rate. The good old unreliable bounce rate is now being converted to something more concrete called engagement rate. An engagement rate is considered any session visit that lasts longer than 10 seconds or has 2 page views or a conversion event. Outside of the changes, we also have a handful of new features that we want to point out. 1. Ad Manager integration. Any user of Ad Manager, free or 360, can see publisher metrics alongside your behavioral data, which can help better understand your reader engagement, such as the percentage of sessions without ad impressions, percentage of times a user is exposed to ads, etc. Cross-domain and platform measurement. Remember how it was difficult to track different URLs across your site? Now, with cross-domain and platform measurement, you can easily measure the differences. Last, and maybe most importantly, UA will stop collecting data on July 2023, which is about 10 months from now. What we recommend is to use both Universal Analytics and GA4 in parallel. It will allow you to collect historical data in your new GA4 account as you're learning the new system, while still having UA for ease of use. When you create a new GA4 instance, if you create a new property or upgrade to GA4, whichever you select will not affect your UA account or delete it. After 2023, you will continue to have access to your Google Analytics Universal data for at least 6 months. We recommend you export your data.
So, let's get started with GA4. The first step is, of course, to create a GA4 account and set it up correctly. So let's see how to do that. This is the homepage of Google Analytics Universal, and there are 2 ways to get to the GA4 account creation process. You can either click on the blue Let's Go button in the top right corner, or you can take the longer road, go to the bottom left, click on Admin, and then click on GA4 Setup Assistant. The next step is to click on Get Started under I want to create a GA4 account. You can also link this current analytics property to a specific GA4 account if you already have one. As soon as I click, I'll be informed that the creation process will create a GA4 account, but it will also capture some existing settings from my Universal account in order for me to save time, as well as enabling the enhanced measurements, which we'll cover later in this video. I'm also being informed that I will have to tag my website in order for this GA4 account to collect data. That's because my current analytics implementation isn't through gtag.js. If you don't know what that is, don't worry. The assistant will let you know automatically if retagging is required or not, as you can see right here. Let's confirm, and that's it. I have now created a GA4 account. The next step is to verify and finish the account configuration. So let's head to the account by clicking on Go to your GA4 property. That's it. I'm in my brand new GA4 account in the admin section, and the setup assistant is now showing me a list of all of the things that I should pay attention to. It's a to-do list, basically, and I can mark all of the different items as complete should I want to. In this example, I'll do it step by step by going through some key items of the property configuration. First step, let's head to your property settings, where you'll be able to set the name of your GA4 property, your time zone, and the currency for all revenue values. Let's save. Property access management will allow you to give or remove access to users to the specific property. Let's head to data streams. Now, a data stream is a flow of data from a user touchpoint. Think app, website, to analytics. So if you want data from your website, you'll need a web data stream in this GA4 property. And if you need data from your app, then you can add an app data stream, since GA4 now allows you to combine both for you to have a unified view of your user's journey. You can see I already have a web data stream, which was created automatically by the setup assistant. Let's click on it, as there are a few important things in there. At the top, I see all of the details from the web data stream. I also see the enabled enhanced measurements that were measured previously by the setup assistant. So these are events that are automatically collected, such as scrolls. So when a user has reached 90% of the page, one scroll event will be collected. Outbound clicks, site searches, video engagement, that's a pretty big one. You'll be able to see how users behave with your video content if you have any, and file downloads. I can easily turn it all on or off, or some specific ones. For example, my website has no file downloads, so I can disable it should I want to. For more information on how to create and modify these events, check out the relevant link in the comment section. Now, if you recall, the assistant told me that I was going to have to retag my website, and here's the tag that I'm looking for under tagging instructions. So I only need to copy this tag in the head section of my HTML. There are also additional instructions if you have a hosted CMS and need more help. For those of you who use Google Tag Manager, we invite you to check out the link in the comments below, which covers implementation within Tag Manager. Now, a very last important section on this page is the ability to create custom events, which will allow you to collect insights and measurements on all behaviors that are specific to your website and that are not out of the book in GA4. For example, when a user subscribes to a specific package or makes a monetary contribution. GA4 gives you the ability to do a lot of this without actually retagging your website right here in the front end. We recommend you check out the link in the comments below to see details. There are a few more things for you to check out here. This is also the place where you would set up your cross-domain tracking. For now, let's close this page. There's one final important configuration detail that is new and we're excited to show you, and that's the Ad Manager connection if you're a Google Ad Manager user. Now you'll be able to link your account to analytics, a feature that used to be reserved for Google Analytics 360 publishers in the past. In order for you to see, for example, which traffic source or which type of user is contributing the most to your ad revenue. No coding required to enable it, but you'll have to set up a few things in both accounts, and we have a very simple Help Center article in the comments section below to walk you through it. There's, of course, quite a few other Google products that you could enable, like your Search Console, should you want to see more insights on your search performance within GA4. And that's it. Don't forget to tag your website if you were instructed to do so, but you are now set up with GA4. As a reminder, and as we just saw, use the Setup Assistant to create a GA4 property. Don't forget to verify the configuration of your brand new account, and go beyond the out-of-the-box features by setting up events or linking your ad manager account. Now, let's move on to the user interface walkthrough to see what GA4 has to offer. And here we are on the public demo GA4 account. You'll find a link to it in the comments below. Everyone can access it. It's actually a real account attached to a real website. It's attached to the Google Merchandise Store website, our official merchandise store. So, not a news website, but it will do for our purposes today, and we'll make sure to highlight content that's relevant to you. Okay, so what do I see here? Well, I see a search box at the top of the page. And then if we move to the left-hand side, the main GA4 sections. That is Home, Reports, Explore, Advertising, Configure, and all the way at the bottom, Admin, which is the section that we were just in to set up the GA4 account. Home is where you'll start your GA4 journey, and this section provides a high-level overview of your current performance. Users, new users, average engagement time, that's a new metric. It replaces average session duration and measures per user the amount of time spent on average on your website when it isn't in the background, as well as total revenue. Total revenue is going to include both purchases, so think new subscriptions, contributions, donations, and ad revenue if you connected your ad manager account. This data is looking at the last 7 days by default, but I can easily change the time frame right here. On the right-hand side, we have a real-time view where you can see total users in the last 30 minutes who visited your website per country. Below, I'll find Insights, one of the most exciting new features of GA4. All of these cards are machine learning generated, and they're here to help you save time, make the most of your data without the need to do all of the data analysis. There's another way to gather very quick insights, and just like you would do with a vocal assistant, you just need to ask a question. If I click on the search bar at the top, I can ask, for example, how many users did I get last month? And here's the answer. I can easily copy paste it, no need for me to find that report within GA4 for the answer. Now that we're talking about reports, let's head to the report section. Simplification is something that we've taken very seriously. Google Analytics Universal had more than 40 pages of reports, while GA4 has 19. And you'll see that information is much easier to obtain. You are looking at the report snapshot, which offers a broader digested view of your performance than the home report, and every table is organized through questions. So I can see where my new users are coming from, or the pages and screens that are getting the most amount of views, and access the detailed report through their respective links below. All the data is for all types of users as informed on the top left and over the last 28 days time frame. I can change the time frame on the top right corner. Now let's move on to real time. Understanding how your users are behaving on your website and through your content is critical to optimize content distribution. I can see how many users I've had in the last 30 minutes and the devices that are being used to access my content. I can also see where those users originally came from and the most visited pages at the moment. Next, we have quite a few reports under Lifecycle. By Lifecycle, GA4 describes the 4 different critical stages in the user journey that you as a publisher should focus on: acquisition, engagement, monetization, and retention. Under Acquisition Overview, I'm going to be able to see how many of my users are new to my website compared to my total users. I can also see where my new users are coming from, and if I click on the View User Acquisition, I'll access the User Acquisition submenu, where I can now see in the table all traffic sources organized by new users, and the evolution through time right above. Beyond reader acquisition, I might be interested in how all types of users, new and returning, are accessing my website. That information will be under Traffic Acquisition, where I'll see all my traffic sources organized by total users across the time frame. Let's take a closer look at the tables, as that's where you'll see some familiar and new metrics. We have users, sessions, that's visits in Google Analytics. We also have engaged sessions, that's all sessions that lasted more than 10 seconds or more than one page view or triggered a conversion event. You could read it as a session or visit that didn't bounce to keep things simple. Continuing, we have average engagement time per session, which is, if you remember what was said previously, the average amount of time spent on your website when it wasn't in the background per visit. I also see engaged sessions per user, which tells me more about the visit frequency of each traffic source. Moving to the right, I see engagement rate, which is engaged sessions over total sessions. You could read this as percentage of visits that were the good ones. Finally, all the way to the right, the total revenue per traffic source, which will include your total sales, so new subscriptions or contributions, and ad revenue if you've connected your Google Ad Manager account. An important note is that you can modify this table easily by adding information on the plus sign if you move all the way to the left. So for example, if I wanted to break this table per device, all I would need to do is click on the plus sign, search for platform device in the list, and select device category. So now this table is showing a new column which breaks down the data per relevant device category. Let's check out the engagement section, which will tell me more about how users consume my content. There are two pages we'll focus on. The first is the overview page, where I'll find information around average engagement time and even user stickiness, like analyzing how many of my monthly users I see daily. The second page is pages and screens, which is where, as a news publisher, you'll most likely spend the most amount of time, since it's where you'll be able to see the performance of your content. So the table is showing me all my pages organized by numbers of views or page views. The rest of the metrics are the ones we've already covered, apart from unique user scrolls. That one is enabled through the enhanced measurements that were turned on when we set up our GA4 account. And it indicated the number of users who scrolled to 90% of each page, indicating that the page was fully read. Now let's say I'd like to compare this data, which is for all of my users across the time frame, with mobile users specifically. That's quite easy in GA4. I need to click at the top left-hand side to add a comparison. And in the window that slides in, look for the dimension category, device category. You'll see there are a lot of options to choose from. You can either scroll through the list or type in device category. After you do that, the drop-down menu below will allow me to select mobile from all of the different dimensions of this device. I'll click on apply, and now you can see that everything is split in two. All users versus device category is mobile, my mobile users. This should allow me to easily identify the specific pages that might overperform on mobile web versus other platforms. For now, I'm going to remove the comparison. Let's move on to monetization. As the name implies, the monetization overview page will allow you to see the performance of your revenue streams, purchases, and ad revenue over time. If you've set up the right event on your subscription pages, you'll be able to see how your subscription packages perform when you switch to the e-commerce purchases page. There's a few metrics in that table that you can ignore, like add to carts, which are typically reserved for e-commerce websites. If you've connected your ad manager account, you'll be able to see the performance of each ad unit through time under the publisher ads page. Finally, under retention, I'll see how well I'm doing retaining users through time, as the name suggests. If you've done the correct configuration to see revenue from your purchases and advertising business, you'll be able to see the lifetime value of your users too. The report section finishes with the user reports, which is split in two. First, we have demographic information, which presents under the overview your top countries, cities, and languages. Should you also want to see age, gender, interests, you can do so by enabling the Google Signals under data collection in the settings of your account. There's a link below to walk you through that. The last section is called Tech, and will show more of the insights on devices that are being used to access your website. You can see that in this example, the platform is 100% web. And that's because this GA4 account only has data stream for web, as we saw during the configuration. If your GA4 account is collecting data from both your website and your apps, you'll also see additional circles for iOS and Android with their respective percentage of traffic. This closes the report section, but for those of you who wish to dive deeper into the data, GA4 also offers deeper types of visualization under the Explore module. In it, you'll find quite a few predefined templates and a free-form one, which will enable you to make the most of the data you've collected. So you could click on the template gallery button to see them all, but let's take a closer look at my favorite one, user behavior. I'm automatically presented data organized in relevant tabs, such as homepage behavior. So let's click on that one. I'm looking at all users and I see their starting point, the homepage, and where they go from that point. So if I click on any second step here, I'll see where the visits continue from there. And what this is doing is allowing me to better identify navigation patterns across my content and then optimize potential drop-off points. I can even add more data or customize it all through the available options on the left-hand panel. What we would recommend is that you take some time to explore what all of these options can do for you, and that you visit the relevant link below to learn more about how to better use some of the templates. Let's go back to the main page and click on the advertising section. This is the place where you'll be able to see the performance of your media spend, if you have any, and analyze how each channel is contributing to your business according to different attribution models. Lastly, in the configure section, you'll be able to see the events that you're currently collecting under the events section, and as previously mentioned, modify them without the need to retag your website. You'll also be able to create audiences, which are groups of users that you wish to pay particular attention to, as well as creating those custom definitions should you want to collect author or content category information per article, for example. We invite you to visit the links below to learn more about each of those. This concludes the GA4 user interface walkthrough. We do have a few reminders, though, before we wrap up today.
Here's what to remember. Life cycle reports. Pay close attention to all user journey moments and adjust your strategy accordingly. Engagement. It's a new metric and it's here to help you identify where value is. And Explore. The Explore module will allow you to dig even deeper to extract relevant insights.
We have additional resources for you as well. First, you can visit the Google Analytics YouTube channel to get more details on specific GA4 sections. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave a comment below and we'll do our absolute best to answer. Last, you can also reach out to newslabsupport@google.com. Our GNI data tools, the News Tagging Guide, News Consumer Insights, and Real-Time Content Insights, which are currently on Universal Analytics, are migrating to GA4. We'll be ready soon and we'll make sure to keep you posted when they're ready. Thank you so much for your time today and discussing Google Analytics 4 specifically for news publishers.